our supporters protested against my illegal detention, and the military went on rampage. They shot and killed hundreds of people. But of course, General Museveni came out and said that they killed only 54 protesters. Thousands were arrested, and instead of the accountability for the massacre, General Museveni came out and praised the military for a job well done. A few days later, my bodyguard and friend, Frank Senteza, was deliberately run over and killed by a military police car. Thousands of our supporters were then abducted by security operatives in unmarked vehicles called drones in Uganda. And as I speak to you right now, many are still missing, while others are still in illegal detention, simply for supporting me and our party. Those who were lucky to return, they came back with severe torture marks and horrifying stories. Stories of eyes and fingernails plucked out, stories of men being castrated and women being raped in detention. But we never gave up, and we will never give up.
Living under the violent military dictatorship of General Yoweri Museveni, who has for 40 years twisted the law and used the military to stay in power. I told you of how I ran for president against him in 2021, how it was the most violent political campaign yet, and how he massacred hundreds of our people on the 18th and 19th of November 2020. How he shut down the internet on the eve of the election, imprisoned me inside my home for weeks, and then declared himself winner of the 2021 presidential election. Now, it is 2026, and here I am again, speaking to you at the Geneva summit. Nothing has changed for the better, only going from bad to worse. Despite what happened in 2021, we were driven by hope to give it another try. So in 2025, I announced that I was running for president again. For 112 days, I traveled across the country campaigning, and the population turned up overwhelmingly. Yet again, our campaigns were violently attacked, our supporters were murdered, we were blocked from reaching many places, and were also blocked from several media stations. As usual, Museveni shut down the internet again, this time 3 days to the election. And what happened thereafter was not an election, but a military operation. The election was so rigged to the point that even at the polling station where Museveni voted for, he got much more votes than the actual registered voters in the register. Our polling agents in several places were arrested and whisked away. Several of our party officials were arrested and many abducted. 2 female deputy presidents of our political party were abducted and held incommunicado in a military barracks for 3 weeks before being thrown into a prison where they are languishing right at this moment. The military was deployed on our streets, shooting on spot whoever dared to challenge the criminality. It was under these circumstances that Museveni yet again declared himself winner of the election, this time with over 70% of the vote. Right now, I'm speaking to you while in hiding. This is because as soon as the election was finished, Museveni's son, who is also chief of the Ugandan military, issued an order to take me to him, dead or alive. The military acted on his order and raided my home. They tortured my family members, humiliated and undressed my wife, accusing her of hiding me. Meanwhile, they were recording and taking pictures of her, which the military chief later on shared on Twitter and bragged about capturing my wife. They also took over my home and surrounded it, and they are occupying my home as we speak right now. My wife and children had to flee the country for fear of their lives. I am in hiding, but I don't want to be in hiding. It was necessary though, so I can stay alive and be able to speak to you right now. I've said it before and I say it again, that I'll resurface at the right time in my country. I feel like the international community has abandoned us. They've ignored us and they've left us to the fate of dictators. When I ran for president in 2021, Museveni and his thugs denied their crimes. They killed our people and denied it. They tortured people and denied it. They raided our houses and denied it. General Museveni has been a smart dictator because he puts on a suit goes to the West and to the UN, speaks very nicely about democracy and human rights, but realistically, he does not mean any of those. He talks about our so-called Human Rights Commission in Uganda, but the same person closed the UN Human Rights Office in Uganda 2 years ago because they dared to question him about his atrocities. Now that is how he has been able to maintain a facade of democracy for 40 years and counting. But now Museveni is 83 years old, and his 51-year-old son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, commands our military, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, more like Uganda's defense against his own people. And he's effectively in charge. Unlike his father, Muhoozi does not play the role of a good dictator. He openly and shamelessly says despicable things on social media. On Twitter, he openly confesses and brags about committing atrocities against the people of Uganda. When he was summoned by Parliament, he called Parliament a house of clowns and fools, and he threatened to arrest all of them. He describes judges of the Supreme Court of Uganda as clowns in wigs, and he has threatened to crush all journalists that dare to criticize his actions. In April last year, he abducted, detained, and tortured my close friend and bodyguard called Eddie Sebufu, also known as Eddie Mutwe. He later on posted on Twitter naked pictures of Eddie, boasting that Eddie Mutwe was in his basement learning Museveni's mother tongue, Runyankole. Last month, he bragged about killing 22 of my friends, and he said that he's praying that I am the 23rd person for him to kill. In other words, Museveni and his son no longer fear international retaliation for their crimes. They've been so emboldened by your lack of action. They know that they can murder their own people, imprison them, torture them, remove their fingernails, push needles down their testicles, and nothing will happen to them. Now, they're using rape as a weapon. Boys and girls, men and women, people of all ages have reported being sexually assaulted by Muhoozi's military. And it's not rare. The majority of the people that they capture and unlawfully imprison have reported being raped, whether men or women. It is no longer possible, ladies and gentlemen, for the international community to deny Museveni's violence and atrocities. It's all over social media, and today I am talking about it to you. Now, this is our call to action. The way I see it, if the international community continues to be complacent, then Uganda will go from bad to worse. Museveni and his son's military will massacre many more innocent Ugandans. You, ladies and gentlemen, in the Western world, will be forced to grapple with millions of Ugandan refugees pouring into your countries. And maybe then, the international community will come and commiserate with the people of Uganda, just like they did after the genocide in Rwanda, but it was too late. The second option is that the international community rises to the occasion. You stand by the values that you profess, democracy and human rights. You can rein in on General Museveni and his son through targeted sanctions, as well as financial and legal pressures. Ladies and gentlemen, Ugandans are not seeking for pity. Ugandans are only seeking to see the world take action against the individuals that have violated their rights for far too long. Those that have abused democracy with impunity should be the starting point. Please sanction these individuals. Sanction General Museveni. Sanction General Muhoozi. Sanction all the police and military officers that are responsible for gross human rights violations. Sanction those commanders. Sanction the judicial officers that have aided criminality through deliberately misinterpreting the law or skewing it. Those that normalize electoral fraud. Those that remand to prison suspects that should actually be sent to hospital. Sanction these individuals because their combined efforts in the last election effectively give autocracy a blank check to rule over the people of Uganda for 5 years. We call upon the international community to treat General Museveni exactly how they treated Idi Amin, because Idi Amin did what he did to Ugandans for only 8 years. Museveni has done much worse to the people of Uganda, and it has been for 40 years and counting. Because of the inaction of the international community, Museveni's mode of dictatorship and human rights violations is being seen as acceptable in the region, and it must be stopped before it is exported to other countries in the region and in the continent. We ask the international community not to recognize Museveni's regime because it is not legitimate. Please terminate any forms of cooperation with this government because he is not legitimate. On our end, as the people of Uganda, we are committed to non-violent means of changing our country, non-violent means of putting an end to this 40-year-old dictatorship. And you can be sure that the people of Uganda will sooner or later free themselves, because oppressed people cannot stay oppressed forever. With your help, friends, with the help of the international community and development partners, we can change our country. We can liberate Uganda before it is too late. I thank you for listening to me.
Musibye mutya mwenna abeekuumidde ku Ria TV, temwerabye okusubscribinga ate n'okulayikinga. Mwenna abeekuumidde ku Ria TV, Mukama abampeeri kye musinga okusaba ate ng'ekiseera kino ekisiibo ky'Abakatoliki n'ekisiibo ky'Abasiraamu kitandise ate n'abali mu Hallelujah challenges ate bwe batyo. Mukama abawe kye musinga okwagala ne kye musiibira ne kye musabira, buli omu amukwateko ku mutima ate amuwe kinnyininyini ky'asinga okwagala. Olunaku lwa leero Bobi Wine Kachanga abadde ng'asiriikiridde avuddeyo n'ayogera ebintu ebyo nga w'obiraba mu butambi obusoose, wabula si bigambo bya TV eno, wabula bigambo bya Honorable Kyagulanyi aka Bobi Wine. Avuddeyo n'ayogera ye kyafiiringa nga ye mutima era nga abamu babadde beebuuza ennaku zino ng'asiriikiridde. Mujjukire nti no yakomo postinga yakomo labako mu katambi ng'agenze waabwe Gomba, then tetwaddamu kubako kaaliiso, naye olunaku olwaleero alabikiddwako ng'ali mu conference nga agezaako okuluŋŋamya ebikiye byalowooza ku sayidi ye ebyali mu kalulu byatakkiriziganya nabyo, nga kigambibwa imbu asinziiribwa mu nsi z'ebweru, naye nga ewa Bobi Wine bikyagenda ddala mu maaso. Byo bino ebya politics tetumanyi wa gye biggweera, kubanga naffe tuliwo kulaba bulabi, naye nga kyonna kyabala it is okay. Mukama yasinga ossalawo. Ewa Bobi Wine ate yo nga tuvuddeyo katuddeko ku mwana muwala ono. Bannayensi abantu balina ebizibu, abantu balina issues ez'enjawulo, abantu balina ebintu bye bayitamu bye batasobola kwogera. Ye agambye nti ye Katonda yamuvaako akola by'ayagala, wabanga Katonda ayagala abaamunoonya. Olwo nno w'omanyira nti omuntu atuuka ku extent n'awulira nga yeekyaye mu bulamu. Era nze nga ku Ria TV mbagamba, woba osobola okutuula awo n'oyogera n'omuntu, yogera naye, kubanga abantu bayita mu bintu bingi eby'enjawulo ate bye mutamanyi. Kamutumuwulireko ate nga tugenda mu maaso.
Mulusirika ne Yesu, I think now 11 years.
Oli mulusirika ne Yesu?
Ndi mulusirika naye.
Mwava ku kyoko nyewe.
Akimanyi.
Yakola ki?
Nze namusiriikirira paka waali etereeza, but ndi mulusirika naye. Taata wange yafadde in 2014. That's when my dad passed.
2014, actually 10 years now.
Yeah, but I think 11 because last time I went. Neze ndi mulusirika naye. Era namuvaako nze.
Kitegeeza yakunyiiza. Yesu akola.
Yeah. Akola byayagala because nga yakola
by'oyagala.
Olumu kale you go and thank him for the life, the air we breathe, because tomanyi gy'obijja naye era nze tekijjawo nti ndi mu lusirika naye.
Ekitegeeza kati Yesu alina okunoonyaako mu ngere.
Bw'aba asobola because namunoonya.
Bwe tolina budde bumunoonya.
Mugezaako naye tajja. So
tolina nnamba yo. Kumwenani yateeka mune mu blacklist.
Ate yagituwa. Nze ateeka abantu blacklist. I'm not a person who puts people in blacklist naye. Simuteekangako mu blacklist. Naye nga ndi mu lusirika naye. Akimanyi.
Musonyiwe kaneetonde ku lulwe bambi. Sonyiwa Yesu.
Omwetondera kyalina okukola akimanyi omusonyiwe. Naye we slide that knows. Tumanyi naddi we tugenda kukola ki, wagenda kudda nga we yasuubiza.
Emyaka gigendere.
We are just here. Tuli kunga kusuubirya Bobi Wine abawa kigambo takola action.
Ate kati Bobi Wine agiddemu.
Era beebamu.
Oba Bobi Wine afaanana Yesu.
No, I'm saying the actions.
The actions.
Yabawa essuubi.
Naye Yesu teyeekwekako.
Aliwa.
Yesu.
Tulina we mutumiitina.
Mu biseera biri we yabeerera ku nsi teyeekwekako.
Saaliwo.
Oyagala gye nga woli.
Akomewo ndabe oba nze simu facing face to face.
For instance, kati omuwala Diana Gund. Skies. The latest is abantu abakwatiddwa at least mulimu omu eyakakasiddwa oyo asikaali nti yeyamu waliwo ebigambo ebinema okwogera yeyamusobyako nga tannakola kitannakwa, which means ddala yeyamukola ki eyamutta. Experts bakizudde nti amazzi g'ekisajja agamulimu gakwatagana bulungi ne DNA ya sikaali. So kati kyesaagenze deep kubuuza oba nemugundi fingerprints oba nazo zasobodde omumakinga, n'ekyo kyokka kikulaga nti ki.
Ate eyo nga tuvudde mujjukire waliyo omuwala ono yali yakattirwa gwe bayita Diana Skies, yatiika nnyo ku internet oluvannyuma lw'omukwata n'omutuga nga weewuliriddeko mwaka akatambi ke mbateeredde awo. Though investigations zikyali mu maaso, I'm not sure, naye nga details zivaayo. Mujjukire nti Asukaali baamutwala mu kkooti emabegako awo eyali akuuma eya apartment, ne bamugamba ayogere, naye tewali kye yayogera ku sayidi ye, ne bamusomera emisango gye ate ne bamala ne bamuzzaayo kwa lumande eruzira. Just kano kalowoozo kange, abaana abawala twegendereze, because ennaku zino ndaba nnyo cases nnyingi eza murder, mostly ku baana abawala. Though waliwo ne case eno gye tuli otunulamu ey'omwana omulenzi agambibwa mbu tata w'omuwala yamusanze ewuwe n'attibwa ekikola ekyabadde ekibi ng'ate bano abaana abadde bato, yandimukubye naye n'atatuuka kweyossa. So tetumanyi naye nga government amateeka gakyakola okunoonyeza kwabwe kungi, naye nga security alert zibeere waggulu nnyo, because ennaku zino ebintu bingi bihappeninga bye mumanyi ne bye mutamanyi. Okyali creativity, welabye okusubscribinga n'okulayikinga, teeka tweyongereyoko wano katini.
Guys, omusajja oyo sinatuuka kumwogerako kukola interview naye mu ku musajja. Omusajja mumuleke, omusajja temumwogerako kuba oyo omusajja tasobya paka wali. Oyo yetu mumuleke mumulabe bulabi.
Walaze omugongo noga
Yeah.
You in love?
Very much.
Wow.
Yeah. And love that found me.
I know.
I didn't look for it. I didn't force it.
For how long?
I beg, not now. That tea, yeah? The day I will release that tea, it will be hot. So I'll keep it for myself. Paka wenaga makati prima. Time for tea. And yeah.
Mwana nzobera happy. Tewali anomayo.
Ata mukazi ngali mlavu nozobera kagulo bana nzobera sikola skin care nela. Mukwan. I shine more than people's futures here. But banji future tebazira bakati shine is via mass.
Balumye bafwe.
My life is good, guys. Omanya bulamu watawuteka ko man. You just be happy. Look toward for your future. Omanya, your life is centered around you. You're not spreading negativity. You're not hating on anyone. You're not comparing yourself on anyone. You're just a free soul, you know? Or yeah, you're minding your business. Life is sweet, guys, to be honest.
Sajoye nachali baba. Muka. Olaba wamujeo ku Valentine's Day no gama nti ba.
We, ngampulira nga olugamba lunje cha amayi ngako yokwekweka. Guys. Yeah, that's life. This one goes, God brings you another one. Everything was perfect. I feel like that is what we would talk about. We had Juliana. Like, the show was massive. Why are you not spreading the beautiful side of the show? Why are you feeding people with information comparing women? Talk about the show. Be professional journalists. Talk about the sound. Talk about debate abantu stage date here. Please start doing content that is going to, keep your followers interested to know what happened on people events. Because kati wona agenda ku event y'omuntu atalina bakazi kale babi.
Ate ye Prima Kadash ye bwati walabise oluvannyuma lw'okupromotinga show ye y'omwami we baby daddy we yali omwami we kati nga baby daddy we Geosteady. Ate Prima n'agamba nti abantu bavuddeyo ne bagamba badde basuubira George okusiima ennyo Prima oba biki naye yavuddeyo n'abagamba nze sifaayo because muyamba abaana bange baba bagenda soma. Prima tumwe bimuli bye keep that heart though abamu bavuddeyo ne bamwashaminga mwayambadde bubi biki buli omu alina choice ye though she is a mom sijja kugamba nti nange I slide with her according to the ways but waliwo kino ekintu ekigamba tunuuliramu ekintu ekirungi omuntu kyakoze ekibi okireke because omuntu aba akoze ebirungi bingi lwaki tupikingamu nnyo ekibi. Prima mumuwe ebimuli bye ye okupromotinga show za George asobolera ddala nnyo okubanga ate nga kyabagambye issue ntuufu kubanga otaata w'abaana watamwa fees ani anazimwa naye ng'okyali ku Ria TV katukomewo ate mukama abankuumire atakuumira mpeera mweraba. Computer accessories, tablets z'abaana ebyesigika nga ate eby'omulembe biriko original nga bakuwerako warranty ya mwaka gumu. Ku Raya Computers bakuwa ebisinga ne gadgets zonna ezikwatagana ku computer ate nga bakuwa warranty, bakola hardware ne software n'ebintu ebikwatagana ku computer. Basangibwa Kampala Road Ita Building ku level 1 at 10 basange ate nga bambi bagaba computer ennungi ezesikika ate nga mpangazi ate nga muneeza mulembe bakubire ku namba y'essimu eri 070 20 30 47 bakwa computer eyesigika ate nga mpangazi ne computer accessories ezenjawulo. Bambi bantu balungi nnyo ate nga bakola ebintu bakuguza ekintu nga kya mulembe nnyo UK used onoonya kipya ba contacting bakwa computer ennungi ate nga mpangazi. Mwebale nnyo